Welcome to episode 13. We start today's programme with a look at Murroe Tidy Towns efforts. When we were filming, some of the Tidy Towns volunteers were hard at work, some weeding and painting around the monument area and some developing flower beds at the school. It does make a huge difference to our village, and the volunteers are to be commended for coming out and rolling up their sleeves in the interests of the village and the whole community. Those of us who can't turn out to do the work can still help with the effort by sponsoring window boxes or hanging baskets. These add colour to the village and make it a pleasant place to walk and enjoy. Murroe needs all our sweet papers, ice cream wrappers and empty chip bags to be placed in the litter bins or to be taken home to be disposed of. The volunteers do the weeding, grass cutting and curb painting. The rest of us can help by being conscious of litter and by sponsoring flower boxes and hanging baskets. Wouldn't it be great to walk by and admire the flowers, knowing that you have helped to put them there? Murroe looks particularly tidy this year, thanks to the efforts of the volunteers, and hopefully will do well in the National Tidy Towns competition. In recent times, the green at Croker's has been added to the village, and also the fountain has set it off. The grass carpet for the green was provided by John Horrigan, and a big group of volunteers turned out to lay the grass surface, which is now a lovely green. The playground is another great addition to the village and is greatly enjoyed by the younger members of the community. Dineen will now fill us in all these developments.
We're here in what I call the new centre of Murroe, here near the fountain, near Croker's, and with my back to the children's playground behind us here. And this is all developed in the last 5 years, I suppose. Croker's was built about 5 years ago. It's a great addition to our village. The children's playground was put in by the community council with a grant from Ballyhowra. Lots and lots of people gave a hand at it, and it came to being and is a main attraction for kids during the summertime. And then last year the Tidy Towns, due to my own idea, I suppose, of having a fountain in the village, we got this brainwave, and we had less money than we had since at the time. But again, we pleaded to the public for support, and we can announce that the fountain, which is working here in my background today, cost $7,500 to put it in situ. To put this here in place, again, the fountain, we got the greenery supplied for nothing by the Horrigan family from the hill. We got the fountain, and we got the grass laid by 26 volunteers on a Saturday morning last October. I think it was a record number out, and we were delighted, men, women and children. It's good to see the community in action together, and there's nothing like it. And it's anywhere that succeeds in the Tidy Towns, you have to have the community behind you. And you know, I spent a weekend in Killarney this year, because Killarney won the Tidy Towns last year, and Michael D. Higgins was down there and he unveiled the plaque to honour Killarney's win. But Killarney, with all their pride and everything in Killarney, they have their problems, and we discovered that if Killarney was left unswept on a Sunday morning, there are 7 volunteers out at 7 o'clock. That would be as littered as the places we see there on from dirty old town. So despite all the efforts and all that, we still depend on public authorities cleaning up our places and all that. And that's a pity, because actually we could, as a people, and I'm including myself in this, we seem to have a disregard for rubbish. When we finished it, we throw it down on the ground, and that's, if everyone brought home their own bit of rubbish, we needn't be spending any public money on it. We're here, as Dennis said, at Gilmartin Park, and Gilmartin Park is one of the first housing estate that was built in the village. It's the oldest estate, and the sign here is being lifted up it wasn't visible enough, they thought, from the road, and we have a very active committee here in the park, and for the last few years they've put down flower beds, and it's giving an example to the other 7 estates in the village, and thankfully it has taken off in other estates as well, where the people of the estate will look after their own affairs, especially in the Tidy Towns end of it. And we as a Tidy Towns group just do the main street. So each estate is expected to do its own, and we wouldn't have staff enough to lead out. But we have very good. We have 8 or 10 people here as well, Ger, have we? In that.
About 6 or 8.
6 or 8, and we would have 6 or 8 in our own committee as well. But Dennis will also give you a shot now in the minute of some flower baskets that are erected here in the Gilmartin Park, and the flower boxes that they built there, and they're accredited them. And like if all other estates continue and follow the example of these estates, of the Gilmartin Park in particular, where I am now, we're on a winner. We're on a winner because it will gain extra marks for the whole town. So as Dennis has mentioned there, the 1st of June, and it's the 1st of summer, and it's just a beautiful day, and it's also the start of Tidy Towns, not the start, but the start of adjudication. We've been several months working since, I suppose, mid-March around Patrick's Day, both here in Gilmartin Park and in the village generally, getting places in order, putting up our hanging baskets, window boxes, flower boxes on the street and all that. And I think there's very little effort to be made to put up a window box or 2, or to put a little flower bed in your front, or to paint your front door or that, and I'd be encouraging people to do so if they're at all possibly able to do it. But if you can't and haven't time, the Tidy Towns will put up hanging baskets for you at a price. We're talking about £20 for a big hanging basket, and you'll be retaining the basket yourself for next year, and it will be only half that cost next year than to put up that to fill that basket. We'll also do boxes. Hard to give a price because boxes can be of any size, so we give a price of say 35-40 euros for a big box, a window box, or a garden box, or that, or a garden bed. We'd say 30 to 40 euros. Information on that can be got by ringing myself, Dan, at 061 386 146, and we'll give you a quotation. And failing that, we have a flower shop in the village here now, at the end of the village, the Murroe agricultural store, and Pat does flower boxes there. You can get the material there, and we'll put them up for you. So there's no excuse really for people who aren't able to do it themselves. We'll get somebody to do it for you. But that would have to be done pretty quickly, because our adjudication day for the last number of years has been roughly before the longest day of the year, before the 21st of June. Last year we were inspected actually on the 3rd of July, which was the latest I ever remember. We never know when they're coming, and the only time we ever get to know when they were here is when we get the report next September, but that's a bit late to know. So we had just one exception years ago. A funny story: I was sitting down to have my dinner one Saturday, and a lady rang me from Limerick, and she said, I can't find Murroe. And I said, are you coming out to Murroe? She said, yes, I'm coming out to do the Tidy Towns inspection. So I got my troops going, left the dinner on the table and got my troops going, and we had any rubbish collected before she came. So I don't know, is that the right way to do things or not, but it happened.
And so some colour in the form of flowers in window boxes and hanging baskets is badly needed. Your support in the effort to beautifying Murroe would be appreciated. Paddy O'Connor and Sean Hogg played at the recent ICA boot camp. Here is an excerpt from the show.
All the love that used to be. And if you found someone new, let me find the new love too. Take these chains from my heart and set me free. I can't stop loving you. I made up my mind to live in memory of the lonesome time. I can't stop loving you. It's useless to say, so I just live my life in dreams of yesterday. Those happy hours which we once knew, so long ago, they make me blue. They say the time heals a broken heart, but time's just still since we've been apart. I can't stop loving you. I made up my mind to live in memories of the lonesome time. I can't stop wanting you. It's useless to say, so I just live my life in dreams of yesterday. So I just live my life in dreams of yesterday.
Caroline Hickey, Noel Regan and Philip D have the sports reports.
This is an update on the recent games that have been played. Our young under-10s played their first blitz of the year in Ahan a few weeks ago. They won all 3 matches against Treaty Gales, Ahan and Capmore. This was a great day for the girls, as some of them have just started playing this year. Currently we have a panel of 16. New girls are always welcome, and training is in the Harty Park, Murroe, every Thursday evening at 6:15, and Joe Quaid is over this team. On the 17th to the 5th, our under-12s played Monaleen Red. The scoreline was Murroe 1-4, Monaleen 2 goals. It was a tight game, with the girls playing really well to come out with the win. On the 8th of May, the under-14s played Mungret on a scoreline of Murroe 6-5, Mungret no score. On the 22nd of the 5th, they played Galbally in the league semi-final. The final score was Murroe 3-5, Galbally 2 points. It was a great team performance, with Murroe taking command of every position. These girls have some great skill and a never give up attitude, which is great to see in a group of young girls. They are now in the final, and we wish them the best of luck. And then on the 13th of May, the intermediates lost to Adair in the league final. The scoreline was Murroe 6 points, Adair 1-8. It was a great game, but unfortunately the girls were just that bit unlucky. There are 29 players tagged out for the final. They are now on a break till mid-June, where they will return to training to get ready for the championship, which begins at the end of July. And finally, we would like to congratulate Adele Cunningham, who was picked to represent Limerick on the primary game team, which played at half-time of the Munster quarter-final between Tip and Limerick in Semple Stadium. Thank you very much.
Hi, Philip D here, Secretary Murroe GAA Club. With the news, this is the 2nd of June 2012. All of our news this time is from the field, thanks be to God. That's where it should be coming from. I'll start with the Senior Hurling Championship. Our senior hurlers recorded a great win over our neighbours Ahan on the 13th of May at Capamore in the first round of the County Senior Hurling Championship. We won on a scoreline of 2-15 to 1-14. It was a great team performance from start to finish, with a very high work rate from each player. It's one thing that characterised, I suppose, our performance on the day was extremely high work rate. Our scores on the day: Sean Tobin scored 2-4, including 1-1 from frees. Shawnee made a huge contribution on the day. 3 points from Kevin Tobin, and from Mikey Ryan, and from Timmy O'Brien. 4, in fact, of our 6 forwards scored, and our 2 midfielders, I think, scored as well. A point each from Pat Tobin and Declan Kett. And this win was achieved despite losing Seamus Hickey in the first half and Willie Walsh in the second. Willie was made a full recovery, thankfully, since, and very quickly, but unfortunately Seamus Hickey sustained a fairly serious arm injury. We lost him after just 20 minutes of the game, and it's going to keep him out of action for at least 6 weeks. He's progressing well, but Seamus is not only a serious loss to his club, of course, but also a serious loss for Limerick, who were forced to play without him last Sunday in Thurles in their opening Munster Championship game against Tipperary. We travel to Bruff tomorrow, Sunday, June the 3rd, for round 2 of the Championship against Kilmallock, and the win there should assure us of a place in the quarter-finals. But it's a big ask now. We're going very well. We have serious momentum built up from the first win, and hopefully, if we get through tomorrow, we'll be in a county quarter-final, which is exactly where we want to be. In the County Senior Hurling League, we're going really well in this, with 3 rounds played. We had 1 draw against Patrickswell away and 2 wins versus Hospital, Herberstown and South Liberties. Both of those were played in Boher, and the Liberties game was the most recently played at Boher last Saturday evening, on an extremely warm evening. Murroe Boher were well ahead at the break, 3-7 to 5 points, and resisted a more serious challenge from the visitors in the second half. We ran out eventual winners 4-11 to 15 points. We were actually outscored in the second half, but we held on. In junior hurling, with 6 rounds of the East Junior B League on at this stage, we have 7 points. We recorded wins over Fedamore and Ballybrick and Bohermore, a draw against Caherline, and a walkover from Palace Green. We narrowly lost in 2 games to Cappamore and South Liberties. And these were games actually we could have won with a small bit of luck, I suppose. Our remaining league matches against Doon at Murroe on Tuesday next, the 5th of June at 7:30 p.m. Despite a solid league campaign, it looks like we are not in position to make the final stages. But the junior team are working hard to prepare for the East Junior Championship, which starts in July.
Hi, good afternoon. It's the Murroe AFC Soccer Notes. Most of the season now is finished. All the boys matches are over and the senior men's matches are over. So the senior ladies are currently the only team in the club flying the flag for us on the pitches. And they've continued their fine start to the season when they had a hard-earned 3-2 victory over Celtic ladies. Niamh Richardson's with a brace and Mary Rainsford with the winner in stoppage time accounted for Murroe's tally. The following week they went down to play Knocklong and they defeated Knocklong on a scoreline of 7-0. Claire Keating with 4, Niamh Richardson with 2 and Fiona Toomey added the final score. This was an absolutely excellent performance by the ladies, and it means that after 4 matches they're now top of the table with 4 wins out of 4. Following, say, a number of recent instances on the football pitch, the club has decided that we will purchase a defibrillator in the event that it's ever needed, and we are running a Euro forecast competition to help raise funds for it. Entry fee will be €10 and entry forms will be available from any committee member or team manager. And then finally, our annual FAI Summer Soccer Camp is open for bookings. The Summer Soccer School will be open to boys and girls ages from 6 to 14 of all abilities. It runs from 5 days, from Monday to Friday, from 10:30 in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it begins on July the 16th. There are discounts available for people who book early, and we have 100 vacancies in the Murroe camp. This camp filled up last year. I think it took 3 weeks before it was full. So you'd want to book early to avoid disappointment. There are discounts, as I said, for early bookings, and you also get discounts if more than one member of your family take part. You can book online at www.summersoccerschools.ie, or you can phone 1890 653 653. Thank you very much.
From the monument to Clare Glens, history on a Murroe road with Thomas Holmes.
This fine monument was unveiled in May 1923 to the memory of the brave men who gave their life for Irish freedom. We are now heading down the village of Murroe, and our next place of interest is our new church. The cornerstone was laid on 1904. To the left then is our Harty Park, It was opened in May 1957. The houses in the village built by the Barringtons were the houses of the tradesmen who worked in the abbey. The coach builders, bakers, blacksmith and all the other tradesmen. Now we are heading for Muintir Hall, dedicated to Canon Hayes, opened in 1941. Just below the hall is the entrance to Capacullen House. And then to our left was the old school in Murroe, opened in 1852, built by the Barringtons. We are now approaching Ryan Whistler's Cross, and to the left this building served as a barrack after the barrack was burned during the War of Independence. And down the road to the left was the old church, which also served as a school. To the right we have the entrance to Glenstall, which was the entrance to Glenstall Castle, a new entrance built by the Barringtons. It is now the entrance to Glenstall Abbey, and also the way to Capacullen Massrock. We are heading now for Anthony Bridge, Ohatana Bridge. We are now here at what is locally known as Anthony Bridge, but the correct name would be, in Irish, would be Ohatana, the ford of the broken fortress. A stream ran through here over 100 years ago, but the stream was diverted to service the lakes that were built by Barrington to add to the beauty of his stately home, Glenstall Castle. To our right we'd have the townland of Capacullen, and to our left Capnahanna, and we are heading towards the townland of Ashroe. The townland of Capacullen was at one stage owned by George Evans, Lord Carbery. And Lord Carbery opened a deer park here in 1683. He was given a charter by King Charles II of England. So he introduced the fallow deer to Ireland, and it is still known today as the park. And as we move along this road now, we are heading for a very, very famous place, Lisavura Hill, and the area what was the fair field and the pounding field where the fairs were held in Murroe back through the years. So now, as we are approaching this area, we are also approaching a very famous road, Lord Carbery's Road. It was built by the same George Evans, Lord Carbery, to reach Limerick at a faster pace. Here to my left is a road known as the Lord's Road. This road was built by George Evans, Lord Carbery. He built this road in order to get to Limerick at a faster pace. It is still known today as the Lord's Road. And here to my left is the old brickyard. The bricks for Capacullen House were actually made here, and it is still known locally as the brickyard. We are now heading for Lisavura Hill, Lisanvurar, the hill of the big man. Lisavura is a crag and tail type hill. A glacier passed through here about 15,000 years ago and cut right through the hill, leaving us a crag face and a tail running away from to the left. So it acquired the name then of the type hill is a crag and tail. Now, also, Lisavura was the seat of the King of Munster. There was on top of the hill was a fortification, an old List type fortification. It was the seat of the King of Munster. The King of Munster came here at Samhain to collect his taxes from his underlords. Oh, on Tuesday, 13th of June 1843, a great event took place here. Daniel O'Connell, the Liberator, spoke here. Just over by that wall there was a platform, and on it was Daniel O'Connell, Tom Steele, who was very much involved in the repeal movement in Limerick, Father Costello, Father Ryan, the curate, and also the MP Caleb Powell. He spoke here to about an estimated 240,000 people. The townslands we are passing through: Capacullen, Capnahanna, Ashrow. Capacullen means the holly plot, or the plot where the holly trees are growing. Capnahanna, the marshy plot, and Ashrow, the russet ridge or the red ridge. And also we have Borman's Hill, and we are now heading for Clare Glens, a very scenic area. We are now here at Clare Glens. It acts as the border between the counties of Limerick and Tipperary. Now, I was explaining to you Clare Glens, Glown on Clár Imad, the glen of the rough plank bridge. Clár is a rough plank, and the bridge here, previous to the present bridge, was a rough plank bridge. There was probably a bridge, and also by the side of the bridge would have been a ford. So anything like animals or people could cross the ford, and goods were carried over the bridge. The bridge was demolished ahead of Henry Irington in 1650.
Another piece of music now from Paddy O'Connor and Sean Hogg. Father Ryan will complete the programme with the thought for the week.
This evening I'm here in the house where I've spent almost 17 years. Parish house here right beside the church in Murroe. And just like to say a few words perhaps about taking a break. It's wonderful to take time out, to go on a holiday, to, as a friend of mine says, to let down. So each year I go to a place up there, little place up in the west of Ireland called Ballyconneely. It's about 10 miles west of Clifton. And I've been going there for almost 40 years with colleagues of mine. There's a beautiful golf course up there, and it's very good for a guy like me who plays bad golf most of the time, because you could go have a wayward shot and still not be out of bounds, though I've been out of bounds quite a few times. And the people up there, of course, we've got to know them very well. Over all that time we've become like members of their families. But there is that beautiful scenery up around that place. Once you pass Muintir, we've got the mountains and the lakes and the little streams, got the sheep and the bogs, and to me it's heavenly. And I have enjoyed every moment I've spent up there all those years. Then later on I take another little break and I go down to West Kerry. I go there with colleagues too. We've been going there for a number of years to Waterville, but because that golf course proved to be too long for us, we are now going to Kenmare, and that also is a beautiful place with the scenery and of course the people. I love talking to Kerry people, and more importantly listening to them, because I feel I can learn an awful lot from them. So Jesus also took time out. Mountains and hills figure prominently in his life. He talked to people from the hillside and from sitting in a boat on the lake, and he talked to them about the things all around, like the fish in the sea, and the birds in the air, and the cattle and the sheep and the corn, and he was able to draw for them a message out of these things that they knew about. He was, of course, a brilliant preacher, going from the known to the unknown, and I could see exactly what he was talking about. So I have to say that I find in these places, in that beautiful scenery, I find the presence of God, in the scenery and in the people. And I find that break every year most helpful and relaxing, and it has a great spiritual dimension too. And I praise and I thank God for all of that. And I feel sorry for people who cannot, for some reason or another, take a break and let down and find that little peace in the beautiful, quiet places of this country. Just before I finish, I remember working with a priest for a number of years in a parish, and he used to always go abroad for holidays. And when he came back, he'd spend 3 to 4 weeks talking about the holidays, and I suppose he tried to link up where he was with the message of the scripture in that particular Sunday. Well, one Sunday anyway, this guy arrives late for Mass, and he came rushing into the back of the church, and he met a friend of his, and he said, "How far is he gone?" And the friend said, "He's getting into a train now in Paris." So thank you for listening, and God bless you.